Hey, welcome to the Coach Howard's Basketball Show, and I'm glad to be back with you after a week layoff. It's going to be a very good show today. I've got some very special guests on the show today. I've got Zach Fleer coming on, the founder of 270 Hoops, along with the GOAT of AAU basketball, Jerry L. Watson. We're going to dig into my top 10, which I unveiled tonight, teams, top 10 teams, and my top 10 players from Central Ohio. I will unveil tonight as well for the second time. It's about to get real interesting because we're about to step into the second half of the season here in Central Ohio. And, people can't say anymore that, hey, they've played a couple of games. Now we're going to find out what we're made of. I think we played more than a couple of games, and we're about at the halfway point. So now we're really going to be able to see what all the teams are made of right now as we go into January. And we'll see exactly, teams will see where they are, as of to this point. And it's going to be very interesting. And I'm excited. I've talked to a lot of coaches, and they're excited going into the second half of the season. Your top 10 teams, though, they're all about where we thought they would be at this point in the season. But it'll get a little harder in the second half because you've played a lot of the teams. They know how to defend you now. They know how to play against you. They know who your best players are. So it's going to be a little different this go around. So it's going to be really exciting. That's why I'm happy to have my guest on today because we'll dive deep into these top 10 teams. They may not agree with me, which is okay. That's what's going to really make it good. But you've got a lot of teams that are in tournament, holiday tournament play right now. So they're going to see what they're made of as they come out of these holiday tournaments. Pickerington Central's going up to Florida. They're going against the Boozer brothers and some other good teams at a very good tournament down there. So they'll also get a chance to see what they're made of. When you go away from home and you have an opportunity to play against different type of competition, it really helps you, win or lose. It helps you come back home and prepare for the teams that are here that you're going to go up against, week in and week out, and help you prepare towards March, February, and get ready for the tournament. And that's what every team is doing right now. That's why some of your smaller division teams, such as Africentric, teams like that, they play more Division I schools because it prepares them for the tournament. And that's going to be the good thing. So that's going to be exciting to see. Hey, when we first came on, if you notice, we had some difficulties, but hopefully you're back with me right now as we move on for the show. But we'll be back in a few minutes. We're going to take a break right now. We'll be back. And we'll get ready for my guests, Jerry Watson and Zach Fleer, as we get ready to talk about our top 10 teams. We'll be right back.
Hello, I am Annie J. Ross Womack, the Executive Director of the Ohio Sickle Cell and Health Association, and I'm here to talk to the parents and student athletes about a very important topic. The NCAA has instituted different standards for all divisions of student athletes. Before you can play sports in any college or university, you must present a negative trait status or hemoglobin status documentation. Your hemoglobin status is taken at birth with the newborn screening. And what they do is they run your blood for any abnormality or any birth defect. There are thousands of newborn screening birth defects in this country. For more information about sickle cell disease, sickle cell trait testing, you can call our offices at 614-228-0157. Or you can visit us via web at ohiosicklecell.org.
Hey, welcome back to the Coach Howard Basketball Show. And hopefully they're there and they're ready to go. I'd like to welcome in my guest, Zach Fleer. Zach, how you doing, man?
Doing great, George. If I was doing as good as you, I'd be doing really well. So, doing well.
You're crazy. Well, you're doing as good or maybe better than me. Hey, I got one question for you real quick. Is the little man, is he woke? Is he still resting?
He's sleepy. He didn't get his afternoon nap, so that's what he was making up for. He's cuddling with mom now, so he's still sleeping.
Well, I'm sure he's fine cuddling with mom because, at the end of the day, that's who they want anyway is a mom. I mean, they can be a daddy's guy all day long, but when this comes to that comfortness, it's got to be mom.
Absolutely. That's absolute truth.
How you been, man? How's everything going for you? I know you're doing a lot of great things right now, man, and I have to applaud you for that because what you're doing right now as a man of God is just unbelievable, man. And you really stepped out on faith and which is what he tells us to do when we believe in something and we believe that he'll get us through it and we jump out on faith, and you've done that. Before we bring Jerry in real quick, I know we're waiting on him. Can you just talk about, just for a couple of minutes, what couple of things that you're doing over there on the West Side right now?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't really know, but I grew up, on this side of town. Lived in different houses, apartments all over the West Side, and then moved away. Living in a condo up near Dublin. And God called me to come back home, to come to the West Side. I remember I went to a game last year between Franklin Heights and Westland, and as I was driving home from that game, I was listening to Matthew 5 in the Message translation, Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, and verse 14 in Matthew 5. A lot of translations will say, a city built on a hill cannot be hidden. But in this specific translation, the Message translation, is a little more drawn out, and that translation, it said, "Now that I've put you there on a hilltop, shine. Be generous with your lives. By shining your light and giving love to others, you'll invite them into a relationship with our generous Father in heaven." And it hit me right there. The Holy Spirit said, I've given you this platform. I've given you these resources, this influence to go to an area that a lot of people have forgotten about. A lot of people have turned their back on. A lot of people don't believe in, and that's the West Side. My wife and I bought a house on the hilltop. And if you know anything about the housing market, like, it's very difficult, especially this summer, to get a house. We put one offer down and we got the house. And, I'm not a rich man by any stretch of the imagination. Like, we didn't have a crazy offer. First time home buyers, minimal money down, didn't offer much over the listing price, and we got the house on the Hilltop neighborhood where a lot of investors are coming in and they're paying straight cash, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 over listing price and getting houses. By the grace of God, we got this house, and it's allowed me to be so close to the neighborhood. I got a hoop in the backyard, another act of God. I literally emailed the marketing director, not even marketing director, it was the contact us page at Gorilla, who makes, the best outdoor hoops, and said, "Hey, I'm moving into a house. I have this website. I would love to give you free promotion on our website for a couple of years for a free hoop." I was just doing it jokingly. And they messaged me back within like 20 minutes and said, "Yeah, we want your offer. What hoop do you want?" So I have a hoop in the backyard that's installed. Kids can come over. I have kids at West High School that'll text me and say, "Hey, can I come over and get shots up?" There's one kid in particular, Kurt, that I actually baptized. He goes to church with us every Sunday in the neighborhood. It's 25 degrees out, and he's like, "Hey, can I come over and get some shots up? I don't have a gym I can get into. We don't have practice today." So yeah, come on over. And he was back there for 2 hours working on free throws, mid-range jump shots, ball handling. So I want to be in the neighborhood for those kids, and that's what I'm doing. And the Lord, basically told me, "I want you to follow those kids and be close by them all season long." So, that's why I'm covering a lot of West Side games. I'm doing a documentary called Hilltop Revival, or Hilltop Hoops West Side Revival, just documenting what's going to happen here, because God's really moving in this community. It's more than just basketball. My pastor, Ben Douglas at Faith Community Church on the West Side, what he's doing and what the church is doing in the neighborhood is incredible. So a lot of things are happening here, and I just wanted to capture this transition moment, because the guys at West, the guys at Briggs, like, those teams are young. Even Westland, they're young, but they're building. The records may not indicate it right now. Like West, for example, they're 2-8, but they've been in 7 of the 8 games they've played this year. They held a lead against Walnut Ridge, in the second half last week. Didn't close it, but that's, young teams, they have to learn to close. So just being there and helping those programs, that's what God's called me to do. And, that's what I'm here for, and going to be in this house for a long time. So I'm not going anywhere.
Well, that's great, man. I'm so glad to see what you're doing. And I'm sitting here looking at you, and I see all that hair on your face, man. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, man, I remember this guy when he had that baby face when you first started, and nobody would give you credentials. I remember you and I talking about, they won't even give me credentials to get into the districts or the regionals, and then at Ohio State. I remember us just saying, hey, your time is going to come, your time is going to come. And now, 270 Hoops is, hey, you're it. When it comes to basketball here in Central Ohio, man, I was talking to somebody from the Dispatch the other day, and I just said, you guys don't do anything no more. I mean, 270 Hoops is practically, they're doing everything that you used to do and even more than you used to do on coverage of high school basketball. And it won't be long before it's high school football. So, I just say, good job, man. Keep doing what you're doing. You've got you a team now. You went from having 2 people, you and Jason, to now you have how many?
Over 20 across the board. We have different people that they're not out in the public, but I have guys that, do scores and things like that. But yeah, it's a big staff, and God's grown it for sure. I couldn't do it on my own. If it was up to me, we would have failed by now. So, but what's playing now is the documentary. That's the intro that we have, and just covering a lot of teams in the area. This kid, Billy Berry, number 2 right there. He's a story. Like, I want to be able to tell his story. He's a senior at Franklin Heights. He lost his father last year, or his sophomore year of high school. This kid has worked full time pretty much since that happened to provide for his family. This past summer, so he's 17U AAU summer, he works full time at a pizza place here in town, pays for his own training, gets himself there, paid for his own AAU, took himself to his AAU tournaments, doing all that and working and going to school and getting good grades. Like, that's a kid. I'm been begging college coaches just to take him. Like, he's going to grind his butt off. He's pretty talented too, but if a kid's able to do something like that, he's going to be a success in college. So, again, these programs, like when you hear Franklin Heights, a lot of people are just going to dismiss them, but there's talent in these hallways and in these communities. We just have to pull it out. And that's what I'm trying to do with, bringing the documentary and the coverage and the 270 presence. It means a lot. And, West, for example, they went from having like 13 kids at tryouts last year to over 30 this year. So it's just showing, what we can do. And in this game here, Billy Berry hit the clutch free throws in overtime. Franklin Heights beat Central Crossing. And the Falcons, they got 2 wins. They had 3 last year. They got 2 already. So, hopefully they can exceed that.
That's good. That's good, man. And I'd like to bring you on and just do a whole segment about your documentary and talk about it and pump it up real good so everybody can see it, because it's probably, and I know for a fact it's something that needs to be told. And, but, to be real, you can do a documentary on not just those schools on the west side, but you can do some on Marion Franklin. You can do some on some of the schools, Walnut Ridge. You can do some on some of the schools on the east side. And you can do some at some of the schools on the north side, such as Linda McKinley and, some of those schools that it's a lot of schools that need people like yourself, to really come in and really help them out as well. Which a lot of those schools have, rich traditions, but hey, listen, I've been waiting on Jerry. I guess he's not coming in. I don't know where he's at, but we're going to get right to it. You may not agree with me and I may not agree with you, but I'm going to go over my top 10 teams and then we're going to go over my players. And then let's chop on each one as we go. We're going to start out probably with number 10. And then we'll come down. But my number 10 team right now is the Newark Wildcats, sitting at 6-1 right now. Let's talk about Newark, Zach. Newark is, to me, I've watched Newark. I love the way they play. They're coached by a former player of mine that played for me for a few years, in Jeff Quackenbush. He could probably run for mayor in Newark and win and be the
Oh,
mayor. But
and a land.
he take by a landslide. Yeah, he takes teams with not a lot of talent, but very tough guys with no size, and they win. What do you think about my number 10 pick in Newark?
You can never go wrong with Newark. As I say, it's death, taxes, and Newark reaching the district finals. It happens. It seems to happen every year, no matter who Newark has on the roster. To quote the late great Coach Bob, Quackenbush takes teams that ain't no good and makes them all stars. That's what Coach Bob would always say, and it's true. I mean, and you see when Newark does get talent too, like top level talent, like BJ Dooling, for example, they go. They run through the regular season. We saw that. I remember that 2017 game. Newark came into Pick Central. Newark was undefeated, and the Tigers got them. And that was a game. Literally, you couldn't get tickets for that if you waited till the day of. But that's a good pick. You can never go wrong with Newark in the top 10. And Division I, I believe I have them coming into this week. I haven't put the rankings out, but in my D1 rankings, I have them literally right at number 10. So that's a good spot for them to be. They're actually 6-2. They lost a game last week, but they're a good team, and they got a senior guard, Grant Burkholder, that he's going to be a great college player. So that's a good. I like.
Who was that last game they lost to?
So last week they lost at Olentangy Liberty, which isn't a bad loss by any stretch of the imagination.
Was that on Friday?
So their losses are to Pick Central and Liberty, with two probably top 3, top 4 teams. So. Two good losses.
Because I may be off a little bit on mine, because I wrote mine down last week, so I might not, with the holidays and everything, I might not have updated on. But my number 9 team.
Yeah.
My number 9 team. Westerville North. What I like about Westerville North, Zach, is they had a transfer come in over from Walnut Ridge. He's added some scoring to them and some punch. But they've got some scores. They're athletic. They play good defense. They're solid. They can shoot the ball. They've got Carter Reese, who's probably one of the better shooters in the area. And I like the way they play. What is your thoughts on my number 9 pick?
Yeah, so before the season, I tweeted that I thought they were going to be one of the big sleepers in the area this year. From a talent standpoint, I think they're as deep as a lot of teams in the area, a lot of those top teams. And bringing in Vari Adams just gives them that extra gear that they needed, because they really haven't had, a low post beast like him in some time. So bringing him with that group, Carter Reese is one of the best seniors in Central Ohio. Like you said, he's a great shooter and just an intense competitor. And what I like about Carter is he doesn't lack for confidence. It doesn't matter who he's going up against. You'll see in some of those big matchups, some players, they'll shy away when they're facing that top talent. That's never the case with Carter. So that gives them an edge, going into those games. And they have a sophomore, Micah Young, that I think is one of the very best players in Central Ohio. May not get some of the pub or, the fanfare as other top players. But when it comes to playing both ends of the floor, Micah Young is as good as they come. And I knew he was different last year. Westerville North went up against Canal Winchester, and Micah, as a freshman, picked up Doogie James, for that whole game, court to court, or end to end, and led Westerville North to a victory. So they have a lot of talent on that roster, and if they can put it together and keep playing together, I think they have a chance to be really good. And the only loss they have was in double overtime at Delaware Hayes. So they're a couple buckets away from being undefeated, and there's only 2 of those teams left in D1 that are undefeated.
So I'm all right there. I'm not far off. Now, I know you're going to tell me when you disagree with it. So, that's what I want you to do, because, I respect your opinion. Now, my number 8 team is a team that, I had to put in there because, first of all, they're undefeated and they've been playing very, very well. So my number 8 team is Bishop Hartley.
Hey, Andreas James is never lost.
He's got those guys playing over there, man. He's got them guys balling over there. And, what can you do? I mean, what can you say, man? He's went in there and done a great job with those guys over there. Have you seen them yet? What do you know about Bishop Hartley?
Well, I know they have two young assistant coaches on that bench, and Alex Lemon and Devin Allain, that are two of the best, assistant coaches you're going to find. Those are two guys like your son Devin that should be head coaches, and probably will be head coaches within the next couple of years. So having that bench, and the chemistry they do, because they're all those guys are Nova Village coaches, so they've been with Andreas for a long time now. So the coaches have a chemistry and a level of trust that is just very unique. And I think their play style in the CCL, in the CCL, you're used to those 30, 40-point games. Hartley's a team, they want to get up and down and they want to score, and that just makes them very unique. So I think that's a good ranking for them. They have a couple great wins already. They beat Groveport on the road, they beat Northland on the road. I believe they beat St. Charles already too. So I think they're really going to be tested January 13th. They have to go on the road to Bishop Reedy, and that could be a matchup where both of those teams are undefeated. And for me, I live about 2 minutes from Bishop Reedy, so I'm excited for that one, because if it's warm enough, I'll walk. But I'm excited for that one. We'll see. They're a young team, so when they get tested against a senior-laden team like Bishop Reedy, we'll see if they're really for real or not. But in Division II, they're right there. I think they can contend for a district title.
I'll be at that game. I've already told Coach I'll be at that game, and Basudi, I've been knowing him for a long time, and he's really, really excited about this team that he has over at Bishop Reedy. My other team, they seem to be there every year, but this year I think there's something a little special about them. They don't have no size, but I'll tell you what, they've got a kid that we're recruiting very, very hard at All Ohio, about 6'7", 6'8". The kid can flat out play. To me, he's a D1 prospect. Number 7 is Olentangy Liberty. What do you think about them?
Well, the impressive thing about them is that kid you're talking about, he hasn't even played yet. He's been injured. So
I know.
they're winning without him. And they have a senior guard, Matt Wilson, who's really kind of carried the load for them. He hit a big shot when they beat Newark actually last week. He hit the go-ahead three late in the game and had, I think, 23 points of their 52. So they're good. Coach Nosselman, a lot like Quackenbush, it doesn't matter who he's got. Liberty's going to have their own style. They're going to have their brand of ball. And they've won, I think, 7 in a row. They lost their first game of the year down in Cincinnati. I think they played one of the Catholic schools down there. I can't quite remember the exact team, but Liberty's right there. And when they get Tyler back too, I think that'll change the dynamic for them. I didn't expect them to be this good this quickly, because they had a lot of seniors last year. They were the team that competed the most with Pick Central in the postseason, almost knocked them off. So, I thought it would maybe take a year or two for them to get back to that level, but they're looking like they can be there right now. But they're in an OCC Central division that's a gauntlet. Some of those top teams aren't where they have been, but they're going to have to play Olentangy Orange twice. I have a feeling Olentangy Orange is going to be at the top of your rankings. Don't want to spoil it, but that's a matchup coming up that will be a big test for Liberty.
Well, I like them. I like Coach. I watched them, and I like them. I like the way they play. They move the ball. They're tough, man. They're just a bunch of tough kids that they play hard on both ends of the floor. And that's what it takes, man, to play hard on both ends of the floor, because you don't find many teams like that, as you know, Zach, to play hard on both ends of the floor. And I really like Olentangy Liberty. I like everybody in this top 10. My next team, they started out very high in my rankings. They've dropped off quite a bit. I watched them play a couple of times. And I think I'm pretty good to where I have them right now, because I look at the couple of losses that they have. And I'm sure you're very familiar with my number 16, Dublin Jerome. You like Dublin Jerome. Talk about Dublin Jerome at my number 6 spot.
I may be a little biased. I mean, I am a little biased. My best friend, one of my best friends, Richie Beard's the head coach there, and really personal relationship with him, because a lot of people saw it, but not this past spring, but the spring before. The administration at Jerome, like, they were trying to find a reason to fire him, and they really didn't have a reason. They just had some influential people within the program that were trying to basically get him out of there, and he kept his job.
I remember that.
They won the OCC for the first time since, I think, 2007 last year, and they returned a lot of those players. They did lose 2 athletic bigs that they had last year in Davion McDonald and CC Ezram, but they have a good core back, and they are 6-2. They've lost to Sycamore, and they lost to Olentangy, not Olentangy Liberty, but Olentangy Orange. So those are two quality losses, and Ryan Nutter, their senior, committed to Marshall. He's been banged up for the last couple of weeks, so they haven't had him. Even in a game against Orange, he just wasn't himself. He's got a groin injury that he's been trying to rest and heal. But I have Jerome a little higher. I think they're right there with the Oranges and the Pick Centrals in Division One. But we'll have to see. Losing Ezram and McDonald has hurt them from a size standpoint, and their 3-point shooting hasn't been, where I think they want it. And against those elite teams, like when they played Sycamore, they needed to shoot the 3-ball better than they did. So that's going to be the key for them. They have a senior, Luke Coleman, and a couple other seniors actually, and Lachlan McDonald and Sasha Stavroff that they've played together for years. Those guys can step up and make big shots. And in those elite games, like the district finals last year, they need all of those guys to be on because I just don't think they have the depth where, if 2 or more of those guys are off, you're always going to get what you want out of Nutter, but they need those other guys to be consistent. And Stavroff's a guy that he's capable of doing that. They need McDonald and Kuhlman to be elite level guys, and I see why you have them at 6. They need to be elite level guys if they want to contend for a regional title, like a lot of people think they can. They got to step up and be that level player that I think they can be, in those big games.
But I watched them. Me and my wife went to the game to watch them against Orange, and they didn't shoot the ball well. I thought that Orange just outplayed them that game. And Nutter, I didn't know that Nutter was injured until Coach told me later on after the game. But he, after he told me and I thought about it, he didn't kind of look like himself. You know what I mean? The kind of player that he is. But he gave it his best shot. And I just didn't see the same team that I saw last year. And I didn't think that right now that I would put them ahead of any of the top 5. But I put them at 6 because I think they're right there. Like, they're right there. So that's why I put them at 6. My number 5 team, but I do look for Jerome to be there come tournament time, district time, and maybe the regionals again. My number 5 team, I've got to put them there. They're undefeated, and I look for them to have a great second half. That's Bishop Reedy. He put together another team. He's got almost everybody back. They've got size. They play tough. They play good defense. They can score the ball. They hit the glass. I mean, it's almost like much they don't do. They had a tough game. They pulled out against St. Charles, which I thought maybe they probably should have won by a little bit more. But, when you got a guy in the middle like Chase, it's kind of hard nobody do nothing with him around here. Zach, what do you think about that number 5 pick?
I think Reedy should be higher personally. I do my rankings, by division because really throughout the season, I'm trying to forecast, what the district tournament may look like. But if I were doing an overall top 10, I'd have Reedy no lower than 3. And the reason I say that is, you got to look at like comparable opponents, right? So Bishop Reedy being a Division II team, they were D3 last year. They played Marysville on the road. They beat Marysville by 20 plus on the road. Dublin Jerome, same matchup, beat Marysville by 4. Marysville then went on the road, beat Delaware Hayes, who beat Westerville North. So when you look at that, I talked to Coach Mark Tinklenberg at Marysville, and he said that Bishop Reedy team is the best team he's ever coached against. He said he literally felt like he was coaching against a Division III college team with the way that they play defense, the way they execute, the way they share the ball, the way, there's no selfishness. Those guys just want to win and they want to see each other succeed. And when you have a core group, it reminds me, this team actually reminds me a lot of that Bishop Watterson team that won the state in 2013, then, lost in the state finals in 2014. Really reminds me of that group and that, the guys played together for, 9+ years. Caleb Schaefer, Luke Ruth, Charlie Russell, those guys have been together since 3rd grade. So they have that brotherhood, that chemistry that you just can't really get at most public schools. And then you have a veteran coach in Tony Basutti who, a lot like Vince Lombardo back in 2013, had won a lot of games, but had never, got over the hump as far as winning it all. I think they have a chance to do it in Division II. I really do. And it seems crazy, but I think they're better off in D2 than they would have been in D3, because if you go D3, you want to go to probably the easier regional route, which is Athens, but Africentric's going to go there too. So a lot like last year, you're going to have to probably match up with Africentric in a district final. Now in Division 2, that there's not a team like Africentric that's going to be, in their way to a regional tournament appearance. So I think Reedy can go all the way. They have some young guys on that roster too that don't get as much notoriety, but sophomores, Caden Schaefer, he's a competitor. I really like Micah Germany off the bench. He's just a dynamic guard that gives them a different gear. And then they have a freshman in Uthman Sharif that came over. He actually moved in from Philadelphia over the summer, played on the fall team of West Side kids that I coached, and we just called him Zion because he's built kind of like a baby Zion Williamson. So they bring him off the bench too, and they're just nasty and mean. So I think Reedy should be higher. And if it was my top 10, I'd have them probably 3, maybe 4. But 5's a good spot, and that's a lot of respect for a smaller school in the top 10.
Okay, well, I like them, and I'll tell you something, man. With some of the teams jumping up to Division 1, it may just pave the way for them to in that Division 2. Now, I look for them to come out of this region. I don't think nobody in this region could probably beat them. But then you got the second half of the season, man, and it's a lot of things change in that second half of the season because teams, they play each other again. They've played you once. They kind of know what you can do. Maybe you play them at home. Now you're playing them at their place. So we'll see. That Hartley game is going to really tell a lot with them. If they can go in there and
for Division 2 purposes, like those 2 matchups, I mean, that could determine who gets the 1 seed, and whoever gets the 1 seed, that determines who's going to the Athens regional. And it could be a lot like 3, where your top 2 teams go in the same district because nobody wants to go to Dayton or Northwest Ohio. Like, very rarely do Central Ohio teams get out of those regionals in the smaller divisions. When our teams go to Athens, though, more than likely, they're going to get to state. So those 2 matchups are going to be big for who gets that 1 seed between Reedy and Hartley.
Okay, let's move on. I've got another guest waiting to come in about 5 minutes. You probably know her, but she's the new Nike rep for the state of Ohio, the Nike team for the girls' side. But at number 4, Africentric. When I look at Africentric and I look at the makeup of this team, they're a very good team. When I look at the 2 teams they lost to 2 powerhouse schools. One of them for sure is number 1 in the state. They'll probably meet them again, in probably down in the States. And then they lost against a top 5 Division 1 state team in St. Ignatius. I like Africentric. I like the makeup of their team. They play hard. The pickup of Cortez Freeman, of course, with Dalen Swain. I think they're a very good team. And I think that they deserve to stay at number 4. Real quick, what do you think of Africentric at number 4?
I love Michael Bates' team. I think they have a sour taste in their mouth from the way that the state semifinal went last year. Kind of felt like they got cheated a little bit. So they want to leave no doubt this year. So I think that's going to be, the storyline for them is they're not going to leave any game up to, a couple calls here and there. I think they're going to want to really impose their will. And they picked up a signature win on the road against Lakota East last week. So that's a big Division 1 team down in Southwest Ohio. So I think Africentric is going to be right there. And, some other guys on that team that don't get as much shine. I love LaRon Fuller, the junior guard. He just kind of sets the tone defensively. And then Preston Steele is a senior big man that I think local colleges should definitely recruit because he's got size and athleticism and a skill set that can definitely be added to. So I like that team, and I think Africentric by far the number 1 team in Division 3 in Central
Ohio. Number 3, it's going to be a surprise to you maybe. Pick North. Hey, I'm telling you, man, he's got a group of dogs over there. I mean, those guys, they play with such toughness, man. They don't stop. I mean, they've got Arness Lawson running at the point. They don't have size. They've got, some 6'4s and but those guys play like mad dogs, man. And they're tough. They're hard to guard. They defend. They rebound. They come at you. They're undefeated. That's my number 3 team in Central Ohio. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I love this Pick North team, and I think with Jason Bates coach teams as well, like they have the identity that his teams always have. Even going back to Walnut Ridge, like his teams, they were going to come at you, and defensively they're going to pressure the ball, make you uncomfortable. Like you said, they don't have a ton of size, but Jeff Amaps is a senior. He's about 6'3", 6'4", but he plays like he's 6'9". So they just have those dogs, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of that 2017 team where, they're peaking maybe a year earlier than expected. And I think Pick North over the years, like they've been better when they've been that team that maybe people didn't expect to be elite. They're riding with that type of momentum right now, and we have great guard play like they do. That's going to help you. I'm anxious to see how J.R. Bates continues to play. He's had a great season so far, but we know as freshmen, when these freshman guards are playing in the OCC, like it gets way tougher as the season goes on. So we'll see if he's able to continue to repeat the performances that he's had that have helped them be 7-0 so far.
Okay, down to my last 2. And a lot of people are going to be surprised by this, but it's I did some hard thinking on this, and I looked at the whole overall picture. I've seen both teams play, and I've been doing this 41 years, man. And sometimes, especially now with me doing this show, when I watch teams, I watch teams. I watch what they do. I watch the makeup of the team. I watch, are they playing together? Are they disciplined? How are they playing on both sides of the ball? Can they handle the pressure of being down? Can they, I look at all that. Coaching, everything. My number 2 team is Pickerington Central Tigers. So I know you don't agree with this one. I've got Pickerington Central as my number 2 team. And real quick, I'm going to tell you why. Their first game was their first game. Me and you have spoke about this already, and it was to Spires, which has a couple Division I players. They're a prep school, but they're all high school kids. They're high school kids, either way you look at it. If you would have came out, and I've talked to Coach Eric about this, if this team would have came out and they would have played tough and they would have played together and they would have gave them a fight and played with like they wanted to fight and battle, and maybe lost the game even by 10 points, 12 points, but played hard in doing it, they probably would be my number 1 team, but they didn't do that. They didn't come out with no fight. They didn't play aggressive. They had too many issues going on mentally. Their hearts wasn't in the game. I didn't think the coaches had them prepared. And I love Pick Central, and everybody knows that, but they lost by 36, 34, 36 points. They played a tough Centerville team, which may be able to beat any one of these top 10 teams. We don't know because they don't play them, so we don't know. But they should have won that game. They lost that game because Devin Royal did not make his free throws at the end of the game, which happens, but that could have been the ball game. And then in that second overtime, Centerville kind of ran away with it a little bit, but I got them at number 2 right now. It could change at any time, but right now they're my number 2 team. What do you think about that?
So my opinion, when you win a state title and you return a lot of those guys that helped win that state title, I feel unless Pick Central loses another game by 30, like they're number 1 until somebody in Central Ohio beats them. I don't really necessarily fault them for that Spire loss because you got to think about it too. It kind of reminds me, not saying they're this good, but when you look at the Golden State Warriors right now, they're not playing their best basketball. They're under 500. If the playoffs started today in the NBA, they're not going to make the playoffs. But we know when it matters, they're going to turn it on. The Warriors are going to get to that level. They're going to play like champions. Pick Central's a program that over the last 10, 11 years, they play their big games in March. they're not really worried about November. Last year in November, they lost to Newark at home, and everyone thought the sky was falling then. Fast forward, a few months, they're state champions. I don't hold it against them. I think this team, under the bright lights, they have more big game experience than any other team in Central Ohio. As good as these other elite teams are at the top, those kids on that team, they have not played at the level that Pick Central has. They have not won the games that the guys at Pick Central have won. And we just have to see how those guys, those schools that, maybe don't have a district title in the last couple of years or have never been to the regionals or never been to the state, we don't know how they're going to perform when the bright lights are shined. We know how Pick Central is going to perform. We know what to expect from Devin Royal. We know that seniors like Markel Johnson, like he can step up when he needs to. Andrew Hedgepeth can hit big shots. Juwan Turner can carry you in a district final like he did last year. And Gavin Headings is coming off of injury, and a lot of people are, hating on him. And, I saw a comment, someone said that he's not built for big games. I'm like, did you watch the game at Gahanna last year? Like, Gavin was the best player on the team that night. Gavin is going to step up. He's going to shine when he needs to. So that team, Pick Central's number one for me until someone in the area beats them. When someone in the area beats them, sure, they can drop. But until then, I believe they deserve that respect because we know what those guys are capable of. We've seen them win big games, and district titles are won in March and not December. So Pickerington Central, they're my number one team again until someone beats them in the area.
And the thing is, to me, is that, I know this team. I know it very, very well. It's not the same team as last year. You lost two leaders from that team, in Josh and Sonny. And
Rasheem.
I want to see, and Rasheem too. But I want to see leadership from that team. And I don't see it right now. I don't see nobody stepping up being a leader on that team. And I don't see that. And to me, that makes a big difference. Yeah, you got some big gamers over there that's been in big time games and they've played under the bright lights. But when you go up against teams like my number one team, you've got to play, and you've got to, you're going to have to play 40 minutes of basketball, because if you don't, then you're not going to win games like this. And they're going to play some tough teams that'll help prepare them for February. And I do believe Pick Central will be there at the end. But I think that Pick Central is going to have to step up on some things. And if they do that, and somebody steps up to be a leader, and Gavin Headings steps up, because actually Gavin Headings is the Robin on that team. You have Batman, you have Robin, and Gavin Headings is the one, and we're waiting on that to happen. But I think this team is a very good team, and we'll see as the season goes on. But real quick on my last one, let's make this one quick. My last number one team is Olentangy Orange. I'm going to let you speak on that, but I've watched this team. I'm so impressed with this team. I'm impressed with the freshman coming off the bench and Levi Davis. I'm impressed with, there's another guy that comes in, but this team here, even though they lost. Now I'm going to tell you something real quick. I thought when they lost one of their top players, when they played in the play-by-play, that I was looking for them to falter, but they didn't do that. They didn't do that at all. The guy that stepped in there for him played a really good game, and I watched him closely. And this team is a team that you really better look out for, because Olentangy Orange is the real deal, man.
Oh, Orange is loaded. I mean, again, if Pick Central wasn't coming off a state title, I wouldn't give them the respect to make them number one. This year, it's an exception. It's something different. But Orange is right there for me. It's like 1A, 1B. But Orange is playing the best basketball in the area by far. And they have, again, a lot like Pick Central, they have seniors that are very talented. I think Jordan Edwards, that is one heck of a signee for Ashland. Jordan Edwards is probably the best passer in the area. He's a big-time athlete, 6'3", 6'4". But they lost Mikey McCollum, and McCollum is, probably their best scorer across the board. But Elias Lewis is another senior that's really stepped up, and Elias is probably one of the best unsigned seniors in Central Ohio and in the rest of the state. So that's a group. They have the senior leadership, they have the shooting, they have the athleticism, they have the backcourt, they have enough size to compete. And I love, like you said, the freshman Levi Davis, and then sophomore Devin Brown is kind of. He's not Devin Royal, obviously, but he kind of brings a little bit of that interior toughness and athleticism. So they have the team, and they have Anthony Kalo, who's, in my opinion, one of the very best coaches in Central Ohio. Has not yet won a district title. That's kind of been the area where they've faltered. They lost at that level a couple times over the last several years. But if they can get over the hump this year and finally do that, this is a team that they could make some noise in the regional tournament, because as we saw in the district finals last year, Pick Central struggled with a team like Olentangy Liberty that plays a lot like Orange. And like you said, Pick Central's not going to face a team that plays like Orange for quite a while, that has, a mix of the shooting and the talent and the coaching. So it's going to be interesting. I think Orange is right there, and they can, when they get McCollum back in several weeks, I think they can definitely compete for a regional tournament.
I think if the season ended today, I think Orange would be the number 1 seed. Central would be the number 2 seed if it ended today, and they would be probably most likely meeting for the regional championship here out of Central Ohio. Zach Fleer, I hate to rush because I didn't get to do my top 10 players, but thank you very much. And I appreciate you, man. I love you. You know how I feel about you, man. And keep doing what you're doing. And can I get you back on soon?
Yeah, we'll get back on. Let's do it after that Reedy Hartley game, since we're going to the same game.
There you go. That's it right there. Thank you, Zach, very much, man. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, George. Keep up the great work, and Yamo Media especially. They're doing great things. And shout out to my guy Adam at Yamo. Again, if you need any type of media, servicing and media, just elite production, contact Yamo Media, and continue to watch the Coach Howard basketball show, because it's a great resource for Central Ohio.
Thank you very much, Zach. Appreciate you, man. God bless you.
Thank you.
Keep doing God's work, man. Hey, that was my man Zach Fleer. I know we went a little over tonight, but we got to talking, but we're okay. We're going to take a short break, but I didn't get a chance to go over my top 10 players, which I'm going to do before I hang up today and we go off the show. But we're going to take a break right now, and we're going to come back with a special guest. I want to bring her on for a few minutes. She's the new Nike representative for the girls here in the state of Ohio, and I got to bring her in, Tenishia Benson, and give her a shout out after this message.
Hello, I am Annie J. Ross Womack, the Executive Director of the Ohio Sickle Cell and Health Association, and I'm here to talk to the parents and student athletes about a very important topic. The NCAA has instituted different standards for all divisions of student athletes. Before you can play sports in any college or university, you must present a negative trait status or hemoglobin status documentation. Your hemoglobin status is taken at birth with the newborn screening. And what they do is they run your blood for any abnormality or any birth defect. There are thousands of newborn screening birth defects in this country. For more information about sickle cell disease, sickle cell trait testing, you can call our offices at 614-228-0157. Or you can visit us via web at ohiosicklecell.org.
All right, welcome back to the Coach Howard Basketball Show. And let's bring her right on in. Coach Benson, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Hey, I can see you and I can hear you. Can you see me?
Hey, Coach Howard, I can see you. You're looking good. Looking good. Looking good.
How was your Christmas?
Ooh, I took a little bit of break. You know, when you start getting busy, you got to learn how to take boundaries, set boundaries so that you can rest a little bit. So took a little bit of a break. It was really, really good. Santa was very kind to me. When you get older, you don't get Christmas presents anywhere near when you're younger. So I think I did pretty good. I got a couple pair of socks, just nothing over the top. You know what I mean? Gift cards. Right. You know how that is, Coach Howard,
I know how it is, but I'll take the gift cards all day long, right?
All day long.
Hey, let's get right into it. first
All
of
right.
all, I want to
Yes.
welcome you and let
Thank
everybody
you.
know what I'm welcoming you to.
All right.
Come on now. Tell everybody what's the good news.
All right. Here we go. I got you. So, after I would say a pretty extensive time and just taking a lot of work, we were able to acquire the Nike deal for Ohio, which is really, really big. I know I get that, Mr. Nike man. Yes. And it's a really, really big deal. We know that with All Ohio, we had a team in Ohio, All Ohio, ran by JB on the girls' side, and they did an incredible job. And just due to the movement of AAU, travel ball, the schedule, just some things kind of shifted. And so, what a lot of people don't know, what made it super big is that we took Sports City U, which is the AAU program that I owned, and then the Cincy Angels, which had been in business for like 23 years or so, put those two programs together, two of the largest, most accomplished AAU programs in the state of Ohio for girls basketball, put them together. When was that? In August. And so put us together, and then we have Sports City Angels, and then, out of nowhere, Nike comes up. And we're excited to put the girls on a huge, huge platform. Much respect for EYBL and what they've done over the years. So that's what you're welcoming me to. Did I get that right, Coach Howard? Did I get that right?
You got it right. You got it right. You got it right. And I'm so excited. I am so excited that you are, and Jerry is too, that you are a
Okay.
part of the Nike program, Nike family. And we knew somebody was coming. We just didn't really know who, because sometimes when they're doing things, they kind of keep it, in the under wraps, And
Right.
but I was so glad. I was so glad to hear that, because I knew about you. I see you, but I never really formally met you.
Right.
And but I hear nothing but great things about you. So I'm really glad that you are a part of the Nike family. So now I have to give you the bad news.
What's the bad news? I'm ready.
You have to remove all Adidas, Under Armour,
And Under Armour.
from your shoes
Puma.
from your house. No, we
Puma.
let Puma stay. Puma can stay.
Okay.
Puma can stay because,
Okay.
and the reason Pumas can stay is because they don't have no circuit teams, so they don't have
Okay,
no
we'll keep them.
shoe.
Okay.
So you have to remove them from your home. Okay.
Yep, I don't have a lot, so that won't be hard. That I have no Under Armour shoes whatsoever. I have none.
Listen, Coach, my kids grew up, we've been with Nike for probably 28, 29 years. So my kids grew up never owning a pair of nothing but Nike gear and shoes in our house.
Oh,
never.
I believe it. It's like a sin, right? It's like a sin.
It's
you
I don't know what it is, but you can't wear
Coach
nothing.
Howard,
But
I got
I didn't care.
a little bit of a dilemma. I got a little bit of a dilemma, though. Yeah, so I'm on the McDonald's committee, and that game is Adidas.
Well, we'll let that go.
We'll talk about that after the show.
I'm sure Nike will let that go. Yeah, but yeah, but I don't. Does that mean you have to wear Adidas the night of the McDonald's game?
We do have Adidas, gear with the McDonald's.
Well, we'll talk. That's something
things.
you might have to. That's something you might have to talk.
I gotta take that up. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway,
yeah, right.
we're giving the public too much of what's going on. So, but anyway, listen. So, what is your? Tell everybody what's your program's name now. What is your program's name?
Great question. Sports City Angels. It's the combination of the two programs coming together under the leadership of Rachel, who is with the Cincy Angels, an amazing, amazing woman. And it's been amazing to work with their team and our team put together. We actually acquired another program as well, all combining, which was Ohio Elite. So that move was really, really big for the state of Ohio. But yeah, it's Sports City Angels, and we're blue and we're green.
So you'll be
so
okay. So you'll be the Sports Cities Angels Nike basketball.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
Sports City
Good.
Angels.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
You got you got to start putting that Nike basketball up under there now.
We got to start putting the Nike. It actually, the directors just got it emailed. It hasn't been put on EYBL's website just yet, but obviously, the information is going to get out there one way or another. So,
it will. It will.
Flipping.
It's early.
It's early. Yep. So we're gonna put all that stuff out and make sure that a lot of players, especially girls, because we're on the girl side, are playing on that platform. When they cut days like they did, Coach Howard, we lost a lot of days, lost a lot of opportunity, and because of that, it was very, very important that Ohio remained having a very special stage that our girls can play. I mean, we've been great at girls basketball for decades now, and we're not going anywhere. So there's a great opportunity for young ladies all over the state, as well as bordering states, to showcase their talent on the EYBL circuit.
Well, I just want to say that there's a Adidas program here that says that they're the best in the state.
Oh, they
They're
did.
called, they say it all the time. Are they Ohio United or something, or did they change their name?
I think they might have changed it. United. They're out of Kentucky now. On the girls' side, you're talking about on the girls' side, right?
Yeah, I thought they were out of Pickerington. Or they're out of Kentucky now.
Yep.
Okay, because I know the director of that is his wife is the head coach at Dayton. Yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah, Tamika.
We need to let everybody know that Nike's back. That Nike is back in the state of Ohio, and that there's nothing like the EYBL. And they're not going to play against the kind of competition that they play against in the EYBL. So we need to, it's everybody already knows how, AAU is. So, you got to go after them, snatch them up.
Oh yeah.
And let me know. Yeah. Let me know if there's anything. I mean, absolutely anything that I can do, and I'm right there. I help you any kind of way I can. You just let me know.
I sure will. Well, you started off by letting me be on your show. Yeah, you guys, you do a great job with your show. A great job.
Thank you, but
so
that's
now
okay.
that I'm on there, I'm famous now.
Yeah, right. Anyway, I appreciate that. But listen, you guys do a great job with the women's show you do. I mean, is that women's? Y'all do women's basketball, right?
We do, yeah. Girls only. Wednesday.
How's
we'll
that
be on
doing?
Next Wednesday. Really
How's
good.
it going?
I mean, the girls are really getting into it. We're getting rolling. Candace Allen, we have great chemistry on camera, and obviously working closely with Adam is always fun, and Kayla, our assistant producer. So it's rolling. I mean, we got a lot more stuff up our sleeves in the next few weeks. So yeah.
So you know what would be great?
What you got?
Crossover. Let's do a crossover show.
Okay.
We're crossover show. And pump it up real big. And do the girls and the guys together. I'll come on with you ladies, and just have a good show. Talk about boys, talk about some girls, and just have a nice, fun show. I think that would be good. You know what I mean? And
I think so too.
And then, but I am really happy for you. And when I found out, I wanted to make sure I get you on the show where people can hear it and people will know it. And when you start putting it out there, let me know. I'll start putting it all on my social media, and putting your team's name out there, and and everything. Let's blast it with the Nike
Yeah.
logo, with your logo. I know you guys probably got to change your logo just a little bit.
Yeah, we got to change it just a
Probably.
little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. Yep, just to add that
Yep.
Nike sign, and then once you get that, give
Yep.
it to me. Let me pub it, and let's go. I'm here to help you. You
All
know,
right.
you Nike baby.
I love it.
You family now. You see this right here? Yeah, that's what it's all
I
about.
see
Right
it.
here. Right
I
here.
see it.
Right here.
There.
Right.
Yeah, you decked out today.
And you will be too. You will be too, because they'll
day.
send you. Yes, you'll have some nice gear. You'll get it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm really happy for you. I'm proud of you and the job that you're doing, and everybody. And I've asked some people about your show, about you ladies, and they have nothing. I mean, but positive things to say about you.
Awesome.
They give you ladies all the respect, and they said, somebody told me today that you are the one. They said that you are another Coach Howard. So, hey,
I'll take that.
I like that.
I like it too. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Yes, sir. I'll take it.
So, anything you want to say to anybody that's watching?
We're excited to the entire Sport City Angels. We're excited to be a part of the Nike family. When I first got the McDonald's vote, Nike directors from all over really took me in. Just being young, I was like 29, 30 on the McDonald's committee, and they really took me in. And so I've had a chance to build great relationships with them. So we're excited as a whole administration and coaching staff and all of our young ladies to represent Ohio and to showcase our talent on the largest stage. We're excited about that. We always say that no one's bigger than the brand, and the brand is our girls. So as accomplished as I think we've done, and we've done some pretty incredible things in a small amount of time, the brand is the girls. And the girls, we work for them. We help them get where they're going and help to grow the game. So it's exciting to be able to do that every day. And I don't know, I'm excited, ready to get to going. We got meetings all week, getting it going. And then we'll be ready for spring. We'll be ready.
Can I ask you, before we go,
Yep.
if you can can I put you on the spot for a minute?
Absolutely.
You're okay with that, right? Can you
sure.
give me your top 5 girls teams in Central Ohio, regardless of divisions?
Yeah. Right. And let's go Africentric. They're top. I wouldn't want to see Dublin Kaufman. I got to put them up there. They're starting to put it together. Pickerington Central. They have so many weapons. It's crazy. That's 3. I'd probably have to
put you on the spot, Coach.
No, that's all right. I'm rolling. I got 3. Regardless of division, Reynoldsburg doesn't look bad at all. And they've lost a lot as being the reigning 22 state champions, Division 1. But just a lot of pieces. So I'm going to put Reynoldsburg up there. And then I would probably have to say, somebody's going to be mad I forgot them. People get mad. They'll comment. Okay, they'll comment that you done forgot my name or something. Pickerington Central, Africentric, Dublin Kaufman, Reynoldsburg. Who am I missing?
What about Westerville South? I heard they were good.
Westerville South, they are. Westerville South is good. They have a lot of weapons. You know what, Coach Howard? Let's put them up there. You can't say no to that one. They're putting it together. They got a lot of weapons, both young and old. And when you have that experience with young, energetic talent, that's really dangerous. Very, very dangerous. And so, Westerville South, I could see that. Yeah. But my 5 is Pickerington Central, Africentric, Dublin Kaufman, Reynoldsburg, and Westerville South. That's what I would go with.
So you got Pickerington Central number 1.
Oh, you want me to go in order? Ooh. Okay, go for it. Yep. Let's go. Yep.
I mean that you're hey, now this is what you do on the girls' side. I don't know. I'm not the girls. I put my top 10 together.
Let's do it.
You say Pickerington Central's number 1?
Yep, let's do it. Yep. Let's go.
Africentric number 2 or Dublin Kaufman?
No, I'm gonna go Africentric.
Now I talk to Will. Will is my little brother. I talk to Will all the time. Now, but Africentric is young, right?
They are.
Can Africentric would they be able to beat a Dublin Kaufman on the big stage?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So you got Africentric number 2, Dublin Kaufman number 3.
Yep.
You put Reynoldsburg before Westerville South.
Nope. I'm gonna go Westerville South 4, Reynoldsburg 5.
Okay. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it from Coach Benson here tonight on the Coach Howard Basketball Show. She's got Pickerington Central number 1, Africentric number 2, Dublin Kaufman number 3, Westerville South number 4, and at number 5 is
Reynoldsburg.
Who's number 5? Reynoldsburg. So that's now. Do you put out a top 10, Coach?
I put out top 5 in each division, and then we do on the bubble.
Okay.
Yep, on the bubble. And then we've never done this. We really need to do it. We might do it for, I don't know. I don't give it away. We might do it for New Year's. But top 10, regardless of division, throughout the state.
That's what I do. I do a top 10. Yep. I just did it tonight. I do a top 10 regardless of division. I don't go by division. Zach does. I don't. I go by a top 10 because I just do the top who I think is the top 10 teams in the area. And I do a top 10 players. So these are my top 10 if you can see them. Olentangy Orange is number 1. Pick Central's number 2. Pick North is number 3. Africentric 4. Bishop Reedy 5. Dublin Jerome 6. Olentangy Liberty 7th. Bishop Hartley 8th. Westerville North 9th. And Newark 10th. That's my top 10. So, hey, everybody may not agree with it, but, that's who I think. I've been doing this. Yeah, I've been doing this a long time. I'm a pretty 41 years, but I'm a pretty good judgment of talent. And, but here's a good thing about that, Ms. Benson. Just because you do a 10 or you do a 5, don't mean the next time you do it, it's going to be the same 5 or the same 10 in that order.
No.
Because it changes.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
Right. Exactly.
There's some teams that I felt came out the gate ready to go, play like it was tournament time, and then there's some other ones that just haven't put it together. Dublin Kaufman's one of those examples. Like, they really came out kind of shook a little bit. Not that they weren't ready to play, it's just that team, they've added so many pieces, so they need time to add chemistry. And so it looks a lot different. Whereas there's other teams like Pickerington Central that is just solid. They've been playing together for you got three seniors, couple juniors that have played like big minutes, like Power 5 players, right? When you have that, transfer over from year to year, you're going to come out looking a little bit different, stronger. But I don't want to see Dublin Kaufman at the end. Not the way they're putting it together. No, I just seen them 2 days ago. I don't want to see them. Not at the end.
Question for you. I'm in the boys business, but I talk to several people in the girls business. And me and Will talk every day, and Will knows girls basketball, right?
Yes,
but
he does.
Now I'm gonna keep in touch with you now. And I'm glad that we were able to come together. But I hear Will tells me all about Africentric. But I want to hear in your words, Adam said, my producer said we got a few more minutes, so that's good. So,
good.
What makes Pickerington Central Lady Tigers your number 1 team?
I think personally the experience that they have amongst their starting 5. Right now, Africentric is starting a what is Taylin Claiborne? She's a junior. Claiborne has had it was a work in progress. Not someone last year, the year before, that was playing a ton of minutes, played in state championships, played to get to, out of districts and regionals. There's a lot of depth that Pickerington has. Pickerington has more depth than Africentric. But the athleticism, the reason why I have to put them at 2, Africentric, is because they play hard for Janisha. They play hard for her. They really do. And they understand the history. Like, for them, it's win or bust. It's not, and not that they put that on pressure within themselves, but when you have a history of that many state championships in a city that really didn't support, a school like that with basketball, that's huge. So when you think of girls basketball in the history books, Africentric will fight as that, period. That is in the discussion. Like, what Will McKinney has done, and then passed it on to Janisha Anderson, coach, we call her Coach Shag, but Coach Janisha, that is a whole nother level to be able to pass excellence on. That means that's culture. That's culture. So I got to put them at 2, but Pick Central has depth. So, you know what I mean? When you have that and you got that experience, I mean, you got Olivia Cooper that's going to Columbia. You got Madison Green that's going to Vanderbilt. You got Barry Wallace, who's in the top 100, ESPN top 100. That's a lot, and that's just 3. They don't count Riley Beth. You know what I mean? We can keep going. I'm not saying that matchup wouldn't be good, but I am seeing a difference this year, Coach Howard, to be honest with you, between the divisions. Division 1 has been beaten up on Division 2s and Division 3s more than I've ever seen. I haven't seen it like this. So it would be a great game.
What's
the
next big
Africentric?
Go ahead.
Next big game?
No, you said Africentric. I'm sorry. We got a delay. A little delay.
No worries. Africentric has a couple injuries that changes their lineup. I think if they didn't have a couple of those injuries, that would look very, very different. Very different. That takes them from 1 to 2.
Can Africentric win the state in their division?
Yes. They got to I think it's going to go down to them in Laurel.
Can Pickerington Central win the state?
In Division 1, yes. However, they're going to have to get through to win it. They're going to have to go through Princeton. And right now, Princeton got and they starting lineup alone, they got 4 Division 1 players. One is going to Texas A&M. Top, what is Soleil? Soleil's 31 or something like that, 41 ESPN ranking. You got Dee who's going to Stetson. I mean, they've got players all over the place. I mean, Mari Gurton, who's a sophomore, transferred in, and I can go down the list. I'm telling you, Princeton is tough. Princeton is very, very tough under the leadership of Dee Davis. I don't know if I know you've heard that name before. The great Dee Davis. Yeah, she's back at her home school coaching. So wow. That's a tough team. So Pickerington, yeah, they do. I mean, nobody wants to go through Cincinnati. Mason is down there. So Cincinnati.
Yeah, but they'll have to. Yeah, but they'll have to beat up on each other down that way.
And that's exactly what happens every year. They beat each other up, and then by the time they get to states, it looks totally different. They done got rolling, and then, Columbus and, Toledo, Northeast Ohio, they're kind of like, oof, That's what we've seen in the past. But, yeah, Pick Central definitely has a chance, has an opportunity. Absolutely.
When is the next big girls game that you're going to be at? I would like to join you and sit with you and watch a game.
You need to come to the Purcell, which is ranked top 25 in the country. They're Division 3 this year, 2. They're Division 2, excuse me. They're Division 2. They were 3 last year. They won states last year. They're going to be playing Africentric. You need to come on to Cincinnati with me. It's gonna be unbelievable. It's gonna be a fight.
When is that game?
Oh, I got it somewhere. I don't know why I don't remember it. It's
Well,
January, sometime in January, towards the end.
Just let me know, and I'll make that run with you. Real talk. Let me know.
Oh yeah, girls only will be there.
Yep. Let me know. And there's a lot of stuff coming up in January. You know, we got Flying to the Hoop for the boys. Then we've got the event over at Ohio Dominican that Yamo Media is doing, and then we also have we've got the play-by-play that we're bringing back again, and we're doing at Pickerington Central. We just did it last week at Nationwide Arena, so we're doing it again in January at Pickerington Central. So it's going to be busy. Just if you let me know, and we'll talk before then, but let me know. And I would really, really like to go to a game, even one here. I don't know what the biggest game is here. You know, if Africentric is going to play somebody in Columbus, or Pickerington's going to play somebody big. Well, you just let me know, and I like to join you. And but
so real quick, just so you guys know, January 11th is the Purcell Africentric game, and February 7th is Pitt Central Kaufman.
Oh yeah, okay. That one. Let's do that one.
Well, the man has spoken. Yeah, the man has spoken.
The man has spoken. Mr.
Man
Dale
has spoken. But January 11th, that's going to be huge. And you know what? I may go down there because, you know, I'm going to tell Will I may come down and watch that game because
we're going to be broadcasting it. So.
Okay, good. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, you the GOAT, ain't you? Shoot, it's an honor to even have you on my show. Shoot, I'm talking to the GOAT of women's basketball, AAU.
No.
I was supposed to have Jerry on here, the GOAT of the men's side, but he has some technical difficulties. But hey, I'll be talking to you soon, and sooner than you think. And I thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate you. We're going to start this relationship now, and welcome to the family. You know, I look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thanks, Coach Howard.
Appreciate you. Hey, listen, if y'all don't know, y'all know now. She is the GOAT of AAU basketball in the state of Ohio, Miss Coach Benson, and I'm going to really start this relationship with her. She is now a part of the Nike family. The girls' side has been without a program for the last few years, but now we've got a Nike program for girls here in the state. And hey, if there's any young ladies out there watching, or any mom or dads with young ladies that are playing, that I don't care who you're playing for. If you want to play in the EYBL on the girls' side, get in touch with Miss Dixon and have an opportunity to play in the EYBL against some of the top players in the country. I didn't get a chance to go over my boys, but I'm going to do it real quick before I end the show. And if you just follow me on Twitter at GLHoward109, follow me on Instagram at GLHoward109. You can follow me on Facebook at George Howard. Let me go over my top 10 boys real quick. I'm sure there they are. You got Arnez Lawson from Pickerington North. They're in alphabetical order. Cabe Norris out of Hilliard Bradley. Carter Reese out of Westerville North. Big baller Chase Walker out of St. Charles. Smooth Dalen Swain out of Africentric. Do It All Devin Royal out of Pick Central. And lightning quick Dom Akins out of Walnut Ridge. Jesse Burris out of Delaware Hayes, and Jordan Edwards out of Olentangy Orange, with tough-minded Ryan Nutter out of Dublin Jerome, round out my top 10 players in Central Ohio. Hey, it was great to be with you tonight. I'm sorry that Coach Watson couldn't be on, but he will be on my show next Sunday. Next Sunday we'll be here, and we'll be going, or next Monday, we'll be going over everything. Happy New Year. Enjoy your holidays. Stay safe. I love you, and I'll talk to you next week on another edition of the Coach Howard Basketball Show.